Fort Worth is one of the fastest growing cities in America right now. People are choosing to move here for reasons that go beyond just the, hey, I live in Texas now. But there are some trade-offs that nobody warned you about until you're already here, you've signed your lease, or you've closed on your house. Now, let's be honest, the financial advantages of living here are real, and the lifestyle is legitimately different than anything that you'll get in Dallas or even Austin. However, the downsides are just as real, and oftentimes are things that people don't talk about, and they actually matter. So today I'm breaking down what it's actually like to live in Fort Worth in 2026. The good, the bad, and the stuff that will determine whether you thrive here or you regret your move. Now, my name is Devin, your DFW realtor, and let's get into it. Now, pro number one is going to be no state income tax. So Texas has zero state income tax. So if you're moving to Fort Worth from places like California, New York, Missouri, or any other state that has income tax, this is going to be a major financial advantage. So for families that are making around like $100,000 a year, you're saving $4,000 to $6,000 every year just on income taxes, which is major. Now, that's real money. Now, it's the difference between maxing out your kid's 529 plan or paying down your mortgage extra every month, or even taking a family vacation. Now, over a decade, that's $70,000 to $100,000 back in your pocket and not going to the state. Now, the cost of living of Fort Worth is also about 10% below the national average. So things like groceries, gas, utilities, and healthcare all are going to be less than cities like Denver or Seattle. And the median home price in Fort Worth proper sits around $310,000, which is significantly cheaper than all those areas, including California. Now, pro number two is going to be a strong job market. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as a whole added over 100 corporate headquarters since 2018. Now, the Fort Worth side specifically is home to places like American Airlines, Lockheed Martin, BNSF Railroad, and 575 companies in the Alliance corridor. Now, the corridor alone employs 73,000 people in logistics, aerospace, manufacturing, and distribution. Now, the Fort Worth job market is growing at 2.9% annually, and unemployment sits around 4%, which is nearly about full employment. Now, DFW added 46,000 jobs over the past year. So if you're in logistics, aerospace, or healthcare, Fort Worth offers you upward mobility more than other large cities. Plus, because Dallas is only 30 miles away, you have access to the entire DFW job market, which is the fourth largest metro economy in the United States. Now, here's something that most people don't realize. Just because you have your addresses in Fort Worth proper doesn't mean that you're stuck in Fort Worth ISD, which brings us to pro number three, which is the schools. Fort Worth is unique because it has multiple school districts that actually bleed into city limits. So this means you can live in Fort Worth proper and still have access to some of the best school districts in the state of Texas. Keller ISD serves part of Fort Worth and is an A-rated school district with 3 high schools: Keller High, Timber Creek, and Fossil Ridge. Now, the district enrolls 33,000 students and consistently ranks among the top in the state. Now, Northwest ISD also serves parts of Fort Worth, particularly near the Alliance corridor. Now, it's A-rated and feeds in the Trophy Club, parts of North Fort Worth, and the growing Hazlet area. Now, this is one of the fastest growing districts in Texas, with new schools opening regularly, and they're keeping pace. Now, Grapevine-Colleyville ISD is ranked number 2 in the entire DFW Metroplex and is known for smaller class sizes and a more intimate feel. And yes, Fort Worth ISD itself does serve the urban core. While the district as a whole is rated lower than the suburban ones, it has some standout magnet schools and specialized programs that can really compete with anyone. Now, pro number 4 is the infrastructure and development. So Fort Worth is undergoing some of the largest infrastructure build-outs in the state of Texas. Panther Island is a $1.16 billion project and is finally breaking ground, creating 800 acres of mixed-use waterfront development. Texas A&M Fort Worth campus is bringing a research center and academic tower that will attract biotech, fintech, and engineering companies, and the Alliance corridor is expanding with new logistics facilities and tech centers. Now, Walsh Ranch is building 15,000 homes with resort-style amenities, and another HEB is opening later this year. Now, even the Fort Worth Stockyards is expanding Mule Alley with new hotels and restaurants. Now, this isn't just maintenance, it's transformational growth. Now, the city is investing in infrastructure that will drive job creation and increase home values for the next 2 decades. And last, pro number 5 is the access to DFW Airport and really anywhere in DFW. Now, Dallas-Fort Worth International is one of the largest in the world. And if you live in Grapevine, Keller, or Southlake, you're about 10 to 20 minutes from the airport. Now, if you travel frequently for work, this can be a massive advantage and time saver. You can actually leave your house and within 90 minutes before your flight, and you can still make it comfortably. Now, out of DFW, American Airlines headquarters here, and Southwest actually is out of Dallas Love Field, but both are easily accessible from Fort Worth and from those other areas I mentioned earlier. Now, beyond travel, Fort Worth's position between Dallas and the western suburbs gives you access to the entire metroplex without being locked into just one side. All right, guys, so those are the 5 pros. The financial advantages are a true game changer and the schools are excellent. But here's the thing, every city has its trade-offs. If you're trying to figure out whether Fort Worth is actually right for you, feel free to reach out when you're ready. I'll walk you through the real pros and cons for your specific situation. Now let's talk about the cons of living in Fort Worth because there are a few. Now, con number 1 is the brutal Texas heat. Now, expect 100 to 105 degrees for weeks in the stretch from June to September. Now, while the heat is drier than Houston, it's extremely oppressive and you simply can't be outside in the middle of the day between July and August without feeling like you're about to melt. Now, for your air conditioning bill, expect for it to be about $250 to $300 per month in the peak of summer. Now, if you're moving from the Midwest or the Northeast, the heat's gonna actually be a big adjustment for you. I came from the Midwest and it was an adjustment for me. Now, it's not just for a week at a time, like I mentioned, it's for about 3 months straight. So that's really something that you have to prepare for. Now, remember, Texas doesn't have state income tax like I mentioned earlier, but the property taxes is where the state makes up for it, and that brings in con number 2. In Fort Worth, property tax is about 2% to 2.3% of your home's assessed value in established suburbs. So if you buy a house that's $400,000, you're going to be paying around $8,000 to $9,200 per year in taxes. That's about $766 per month. Now you get the homestead exemption, which helps, but there's still that rate sticker shock for most people. And here's the thing, property taxes can increase every year based on appraisals. So if your home goes up 10% in a year, expect that tax bill to follow along with it. Now, con number 3 is Fort Worth is 90% car dependent. So that means you'll need a vehicle to get pretty much anywhere, for your groceries, to work, to school, even going out dining. There's no functional public transit for daily life. The Trinity Railway Express connects Fort Worth to Dallas, but it's not really useful for daily commuting within the city itself. And if you're moving from a more walkable area like Chicago or New York, this is going to be a true culture shock unless you're in like the West Fort Worth neighborhood. So you'll spend about 10 to 15 hours per week in your car. Traffic on like I-35 West, I-30, and Highway 121 can get brutal during rush hour. So expect your commute to be about 30 to 45 minutes standard. So in Fort Worth, geography really matters. Choosing the wrong area can mean you're going to be spending a good portion of your day and week in traffic. Con number 4 is going to be the severe weather threat. North Texas sits in Tornado Alley and severe weather season runs from March to June. So tornadoes are a real risk here and you need to plan on where to shelter. Now, homes here in Texas really don't have basements because of the soil and the clay is heavy. So you'll be sheltering in interior rooms and closets. This was definitely a change for me being from the Midwest, being from the Kansas City area. Now, every spring we get severe weather and thunderstorms like hail and high winds. So if you're coming from, again, the Midwest, the West Coast, or the Northeast, this is going to be a little bit different and scary for you. Now, this isn't a theoretical risk. Tornadoes do hit DFW multiple times a year, so it's really something that you need to prepare for. And con number 5 in Fort Worth is real estate has gotten significantly more expensive over the last 5 years. While the median home price in Fort Worth proper is $310,000 in desirable suburbs, other places like Southlake, Keller, and Grapevine are becoming really out of reach for middle-class families. Now, if you want those top-rated schools in established neighborhoods, you're paying about $450,000 to $900,000, and families that are making under $100,000 a year often are being priced out of those suburbs and have to go to other places like Burleson, Mansfield, and the Alliance area, which aren't bad and up and coming, but again, they're not your Colleyville, your Southlake, or your Grapevine area, so that's just something to prepare for. Now, Fort Worth is a great place to live. It's been good to my wife and I for the past 2 years. It's more diverse than people realize, and the energy is just different than other sides of DFW. And it's pretty family focused here that you really don't find in bigger cities. Now, the trade-offs are real, especially if you're coming from out of state. The heat, the property taxes, and the car dependency might be a shock to you. But what's happening right now in places like Panther Island, the Alliance area, and everything else that's being built, Fort Worth is becoming a major destination while still keeping that community feel. It's not trying to be Dallas. It's really trying to do its own thing. And a lot of families, that's exactly what they're looking for. Now, if you're thinking about making the move, reach out. I'd love to walk through the city with you and find the places that really meet your needs. So guys, I do this thing 1 time a week. So thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and I'll see you on the next one.